Okay, so last time we have started with the introduction of irrigation engineering, and this time we will start the diversion headwork, and we'll understand that how we could really start the designing part of various components of the diversion headwork. Diversion headwork, as we have seen last time, that the major components are built to divert the water which is flowing through the natural streams like river, or there may be sometimes the water impounded in the bigger lakes and ponds, and that can be also diverted into the canal. So those structures which are really required to divert the water for various requirements. And earlier we have seen that requirement basically in this subject is irrigation. We are not going to discuss the water drinking water requirement or industrial requirement or entertainment requirement. So that is not part of this particular course on which we are discussing. What we are focusing that will calculate the irrigation requirement. If any other requirement is falling into or we are combining with, then the project would be like a multi-purpose project. In that case, the water, certain part of the water is going to irrigation and rest of the part are going for different other objectives of the project. So here, irrigation engineering, we are going to learn that how the diversions are done or water is diverted into the. So let's start with some uh, slides which last time we were looking at, and this time we'll further proceed into that the different diversion headworks. I have defined this diversion headworks as a civil infrastructure for required for the irrigation. So civil infrastructure in transportation is the road and the internal road, CC road, then bitumen road, and junction rotary signal design in transportation. Likewise, civil infrastructure in irrigation are the weirs, barrages, dams, and canals mainly. These are the main infrastructure. If we think of this subject, then there are design of weir, barrages, and canals, and you are going to learn the theory and the concepts and the design procedure for all three major structures of the diversion. But before moving on to these particular three diversion structures, what we need is that these diversion structures need to be understood, that where they are located and how they are located, how they will hold the water, and which kind of forces really they are going to deal with. So I'm moving up with the kind of. Are you able to see my PPTs? Yes, write in chat box if it is okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So this is the second slide I have shown to you, and I also given you some the assignment to do about the Vasna Beras and Pattewadi Canal, which irrigates on the right bank of the Sabarmati River from the Vasna Beraj, and I have also asked you to calculate the different discharges. So you might be working on that, and we'll discuss that in the laboratory part. And further going into diversion headworks, is I been deciding that the works which are constructed at the head of the canal in order to divert the river water towards the canal. So this is one definition of the diversion head works. Head, H-E-A-D, head. This word is used here. Somebody might have defined this like the civil works which are constructed at the head, means where the canal starts at the head of the canal in order to divert the river water towards the canal. Then they are considered as headworks or civil headworks or the infrastructure headworks. But in my opinion, this is the beginning from where we are starting the diversion. All works carried out there so as to enable diversion of the water, natural water running into the streams. So all those works are the headworks, and where the civil engineering inputs are required, civil engineering knowledge is required, civil engineering design methods are required. And that's why I call it like civil infrastructure, and all those works which are constructed at the head, means where things start, the diversion starts, water we take to the canal section. So that is kind of thing first. So as to ensure a regulated continuous supply. This is the meaning. The major objective of all headworks is to regulated continuous supply. Here, word regulated is not meaningless. It's not randomly used. You should understand the word regulation, regulated, or regulated flow, regulated traffic, regulated public, regulated state, or a country. So regulation is very important here. Here we are regulating the headwork to control the flow. So regulation means we are controlling certain things, and that is required for the discipline. And this discipline in water supply is must, because water is not available in abundance. This is available in limited quantity, very much limited quantity, and that water need to be supplied for irrigation as well as for other requirements. So what we do here is that the regulated continuous supply means we are doing regulation. We are regulating the flow, but we are providing supply of water continuously so that we could get tea crops, so that we become self-sufficient in food grains. As I said, that we are having less than a kg per capita per day, the availability of food grains, whereas it is more than 1 kg in China and around 3 kg in America. So we need to reach that kind of food sufficiency in India to supply through supplying the continuous water. So that the responsibility of supplying continuous water for irrigation falls on our head, our shoulders. So we are going to take up this matter in this subject, that we would ensure a regulated continuous supply of water to the field farms, agricultural farms. At this certain minimum head into the canal. This head here is different than the head structures. Head here is the total depth of water available. Head means the water at which the depth of water in the canal. So with certain head here this HEAD and this HEAD are different. This is head means beginning. This is depth here into the canal are known as diverter headworks. The objectives, pinpointed objective, we have seen many a times, discussed many a times the objectives of the diversion headwork, but pinpointed that how the headworks could be understood. So like first is to raise the water level. Otherwise the stream water, the river water cannot be diverted. River flows into a gorge, like a deep depression, a channel, and that cannot jump automatically. So what we have to do, that we have to raise the level of water through construction of barrier, a weir or a barrage, as I explained in the previous class. So raising of water is the first. So objective of diversion headwork is to raise the water level at the head of the canal. The second objective is to form a storage by construction of dike on both sides of the banks. These dikes are burns and embankments. This DYKES you could write down on a piece of paper, and you should understand the meaning of dike. This is a technical word. The meaning of this is nothing but these are earthen embankment, compacted, consolidated embankments, which retain the water within the sides of the banks of the river. So construction of dikes or embankments, we will see the sketches of these dikes. There is also the kind of design given in the soil mechanics that these dikes are constructed and how they can be constructed. So to form a storage by construction of dikes on both sides of bank of river, so that water is available throughout the year. When we create a barrier like weir or barrage, then the water level will go up, and if we do not hold or rather we want to hold some of the water into the weir upstream of the weir, then what we need to do, that we have to also take the banks up through construction of this dikes. So this is the second objective of the diversion headwork, that we go for embankmented dikes construction on the banks upstream of the upstream of the structure, weir or barrage. I'll show you what is upstream and what is downstream. Will become more comfortable with these terminologies as soon as we reach one slide where all the things, all the components are shown. Before that, we should understand objectives. So the third objective is to control the entry of silt. Silt means that finer sand or debris which the water carries in the stream or river, and that silt, the finer clay material, should not enter into the canal or different diversion structure, civil infrastructure. If they enter, then they will deteriorate the structure or would reduce the efficiency, working efficiency of the structure. So what we do, we construct our structure in such a way that the entry of silt, which is there in the water of flowing river, we do not allow it. And that if allowed, then in a very minimal amount, and it should be removed as soon as it is entering into, it should not go far off into the canal system. So control the entry of silt. Silt means eroded material, eroded the soil mass, eroded formation, which is coming from the farm land back into the river and then into the canal. So that may destroy our civil infrastructure. So silt into the canal and to control the deposition of silt at the head of the canal. So that is what the structure should be. This is very big objective. It controls the major geometrics, flow dynamics. This third objective is not that simple to understand, that how we can control through a basic simple design. So IS code defines various structure geometries to be given to the different structures, so that these structures do not allow entry first of the silt. If it is entered, then how it can be ejected out of the system, that is also required. And the fourth is to control the fluctuation of water level in the river during different seasons. So this is one of the, you could say, flood control kind of thing, that fluctuating river is having sometimes a dangerous situation, threatening situation to the surrounding areas, whereby if that is water is spilling out of the banks, it may flood the nearby farms and villages. So to control that, not these structures, weir and barrage, are not big. They can control the flood of river, but in a certain, up to a certain level. Not this is not a major solution. These are the minor solutions for control of the flood, weirs and barrages, to control the fluctuation of water level in the river. The second point under this control of fluctuation, sometimes there is a low flow in the river. Flow means during the month of Feb, March, April, May, there is hardly any flow in Sabarmati. So the fluctuation is low, water won't be pulling up automatically. So what we do, that we are having a kind of storage upstream of the structure, and that water would enter into canal continuously without any interruption. So that is how we control the fluctuation of river flow. Sometimes when the river flow is low, sometimes when the river is flooding. So in both cases, these weirs and barrages or other structures act as regulators. So I think these four objectives are now clear in your mind of all the diversion headworks. Sorry. Am I audible? Right? Yes, if I am. If something wrong, write in the chat box, please. Somebody, please write yes. Okay, audible. Thank you. And this is now the diversion headwork men, which we design. Mostly the civil engineering professionals deal these structures. This is very beautiful picture here onto the screen. And look at this. This give you a kind of notion that how many structures are there, basically, to divert the water into the canal, and the canal which is being diverted will take it, the water will go to the farms. Where is the canal? Let's see. This is a off-taking canal. Look at this. Are you okay with this? And this is river. And river is not really like this, a kind of wall constructed. And these are the structure we need to create as a part of the diversion headwork project. When we are, like you are the executive engineer or superintending engineer, then you are not supposed to construct this weir here. This is a weir. Look at written weir here. This one is the weir. This is river flow. when there was nothing, then this was just a gorge, a river valley. This is just like a river valley. Water was flowing through it, no structure. So many structures are required to be constructed. Look at this, so many structures. How, if this width of the river, if you assume as 500, 600 meter, then length of this structure is 2-3 kilometers. So we need to do the heavy construction of heavy components. All these are not small, like building, civil engineering department, our department. No, these structures are bigger than that. Even these burns and these walls are like bigger than this. These are having width 100, 700, sometimes a kilometer length, breadth of the river. So this weir is to be constructed across whole length. So you could assume the total dimension of this structure. This is something like 800 meters from this end to this end. This is not 100 meter or 50 meter. Our civil engineering department, you could see, this is hardly 200 meters, less than that, maybe not 200 meters even. So this length is like, if you place 7 civil and mechanical engineering departments together, then this could be constructed. And the cost of these departments was like 30 crores. So you could assume the total construction cost. Here, the construction is not easy. This is not construction on simple. There is a river flowing. This is the direction of river. So look at the particular thing here, the component we need to design, analyze and design. That first we understand the river flow. The water is coming in this direction and going in this direction down into this direction. Now, when we think that this is the right point to construct a weir and can take a canal from this side, then this is called site selection. There are 2-3 slides will be coming up with that, what should be the site of weir or barrage, because what is the important thing? This is a structure with a height of say 30 meter or 20 meter or 25 meter, or sometimes including the foundation of this weir and barrage, maybe 40 meter. So that big a structure means this water flowing will get impounded here. If we are creating here a weir, a wall, and whose this breadth at the bottom, if you take a section here, if you draw a section over here, then what will happen? That you will get this is top width, and there would be a broader base at the bottom, at the foundation level. So foundation should be resting not directly on the river bed. This is important to understand, that when you are constructing here the structure, a civil engineering structure, you are doing construction, then the construction foundation is not going to rest directly onto the river bed. Now we have to scrape out all the loose soils, and we need to reach up to a good impervious foundation rock available, because that rock will become the impervious formation of the earth, will become a great load transfer media for the upper structure. So basic thing about the selection of site, that this river is 200 kilometer long, and we need water for irrigation in this area. So this area is also say 100 or at least say 40 kilometer long. Then this weir could be here, or 2 kilometer upstream here, or 2 kilometer downstream there. So you have a range of 10 kilometers where you could situate this river. So situating this river, locating this river, is a fundamental task we accomplish through surveying method, detailed surveying methods. So you might have studied different surveys, that how we could really get the notion of the area and how much water is going to be impounded here. Now this, if we consider the right selection of the site and construction of the weir here, then the upstream is the area which is receiving the water from the river, and downstream there won't be any dry area, or won't be that much water. Only water available here is overflow over this weir structure. So we are understanding now what that the flow is taking place naturally here. We have created this structure called weir. Now this weir, after the construction, what happens that this water will get accumulated and there will be creation of head, means water will be pooling up. Earlier it was in the banks of the river. Now since water is going up here, it will also spread out onto the left and right side of the river, because here water is getting accumulated. So the accumulated water will spread out, and if it is spreading out, then it won't serve the purpose. So what we do to contain that water which is getting accumulated, what we do, we build these structures called guide bank and marginal bund. These are the guide banks and these are the marginal bund. Marginal bunds are generally constructed on the upstream side, but guide banks are onto the both side. Look at interesting thing that we have guide banks on both the sides. They guide the flow into the weir. This is important thing. You should note that earlier there was here only the river valley, means only the river bed and its banks. Now we have these guide banks. That flow which was earlier sparse, like here also, and sometimes river are bifurcating into 2-3 parts. But now we should guide that flow into the weir so that water gets accumulated. And the length of these guide banks, you look at, this is the width of the total length of the weir here. So length of this onto the upstream side is almost equal 800 meter. If I assume the length of this weir, then 800 meter here. So these are heavy structure. They contain the water. This is done through consolidation, compaction of soil, and then pitching onto them, so that this is not getting eroded into the rilling current or into the current which is overflowing over the weir. So guide bank guide the flow into here. Now after guiding, what happens? Water is accumulated. So we also need to up these banks here of the river. River banks are so low that any accumulation of water will spread out of the bank and it will flood the nearby farms. So what we do with that, the water should remain into this enclosure and this should be guided into the canal. What we do, we increase the level of the land here by construction of marginal bund, marginal embankment. They are also called levees. These are called levees. Here the contour levels are increasing. This is the bottommost portion here of the river valley, and here increasing here, and then increasing till the height of this weir. So I say if the RL of the top of this weir is 40, then RL of this marginal bund here is also 40. Are you getting? Understand this. If the ground level here is 20, then the height of this marginal bund would be 20 meter from the ground surface. So I think this is comfortable to you and to understand that what is the marginal bund, what is the guide bank. Guide bank guide the flow into this, and marginal bund hold the water in this whole pocket, and which ultimately we allow here into the canal network, this canal network. I think this is very clear to you. So sorry, when water we allow the water to enter into canal take the water and take it to the farms. They said there is a Mehsana district here, and Sabarmati is irrigating through its canal here, this taken, and this water is going. Now to control this water, regulate this water, what we need here, the head regulator. This is head. What we are studying is head works. This word is head works, and this is head regulator. This is a device constructed. This is not instrument. This is a structure constructed to regulate the flow. So this structure is big enough and to control, allow this water to the canal. It may not allow the water into the canal. So this is a structure called canal head regulator. There is sometimes confusion between canal cross regulator. That we'll see later stage. Today we are understanding only the canal head regulator with gates opening called head sluices. So this is basically canal head regulator, and the water which is in this pocket through the construction of this weir is taken into the canal. If we wish, if there is a requirement in for the irrigation, we open the gate and the water will enter. If water is not entering into, what will happen to the water which is being received in excess over here? That water will go through above the weir, because this is not a dam, this is a weir. It cannot hold whole of the water, so rest of the water is allowed on the top surface of this weir all through, right from here to here. All the length of the weir is allowed to surpass over top the water. Now coming to this structure weir itself, you can look at, we'll see this 2-3 things what they are written. They are also very important things. I give you say 20 seconds to sip water or something, and I'll resume in 20 seconds. Okay. Now look at the structure, main structure of the diversion headwork, which we call weir or barrage. At present, you understand that this is where weir or barrage, anything could it be. So presently it is written as a weir divided into bays with piers. Piers are here like bridge we see onto the river, that is to cross. We construct piers and then we take it to the we construct deck onto the top of that, and we could have a good smooth traffic to cross the river. Likewise here also the things are divided. See, the 800-meter are divided into 14 bays. This is not a single type of construction, so we are divided into bays with piers. So that is what is that, but it's a continuous structure. This is a continuous structure, no break provided. Normal weir portion, that is the weir proper or the main weir. This is divide wall. This is very important here. Look at, this is divide wall. This divide wall. This is not the divide wall onto the other side. This measured having good thickness here. Look at, good thickness here, which is why, because it is subjected to forces, and civil engineer, they do analyze the forces, load coming onto, and then accordingly design. So according to design, it is becoming thick, and we have created thick here. Thickness is given, and this wall is not given thickness because thickness is not required. Forces are not that many onto this wall. So you look at a very thin wall is provided. What is this? We'll discuss later. But first, look at this divide wall. Divide wall is a wall constructed across this length of the weir to divide the weir into two parts. This is wall extending onto the upstream as well as the downstream. Then onto the upstream, divide the water pocket here, this whole water pocket into two areas. One is onto the canal side and other this side. So water which is getting accumulated definitely will get accumulated here also. As soon as we allow water to move into this canal, then this pocket is stationary almost. This is the major main pocket, normal weir portion. This is the main weir portion where the flow, excess flow will also take place. And this pocket created means only there would be flow in case of flood, but not as frequent as this. So you could assume that this portion from here to here is say 1 feet lower or 1 meter lower than this area. And this area is having a kind of still pocket, stationary water, still water, almost still water. Why? If it is having kind of discharge here, then it becomes difficult for the water to enter into this canal. So what we need, that we need a water here with lesser velocity, with lesser velocity, and that water with lesser velocity could be diverted. This, we are diverting water almost at right angle. We are changing the direction of water almost at right angle. So what we need, that if it is flow with greater velocity, then it will skip these openings and will flow downward directly. So we'll make it through creating a pocket here and building a kind of a barrier for the water to be hold. And whereas this pocket onto the other side, which is called the main weir, so that water is definitely excess water is flowing downstream. This is downstream area. So now I think you understand the meaning of divide wall. Divide wall divides the whole length of the weir into uh, two part. Generally, this is 1/3. This is 2/3. Generally, this is the thumb rule that this is 1/3 and this is 2/3, and this 1/3 is used as a still stationary part, and the canal is taking from here. So you should provide this 1/3, which is at a still water is becoming more and more uh, not flowing, almost still, and can be diverted. And with the help of this divide wall, we construct a kind of ladder here. A kind of ladder. Ladder is not a simple ladder which we use in our houses, but this is a constructed ladder. This is a structural ladder where this is a swimming pool kind of thing. This one thing here, this is a baffle wall. This is a baffle wall. And this area, a small area between two consecutive baffle wall onto one side and two consecutive, this is called a pool, almost of the size of a international swimming pool. And mostly these are provided with steps, a small 10 centimeter, 6 inches steps. Why these are provided? This is called a fish ladder. What happens that river flows from this direction to this direction. Suppose here there is a Arabian Sea. Suppose there is a Arabian Sea and this is a river Narmada. Then what happens? The adult fish which migrate from the sea to up areas, they need some break here. If there is a weir like this, continuous weir like this, then fish can't move from here to here, this area, and they will eventually die. So aquatic to allow the aquatic creatures to move from downstream to upstream, or sometimes from upstream to downstream, what we need a way. So they call it fish way, they call it a fish ladder. So that whatever you call this, give name, but this is to allow aquatic creature from downstream to upstream and upstream to downstream. These baffle walls enable this flow to take place slowly. If we create this kind of barrier to the flow of water which is there into the river, then there would be lesser velocity of the flow, so that the fish could move easily and comfortably upstream or downstream of this area. So meaning of fish ladder is always is a kind of passage for the fish and other aquatic life to take place from upstream to downstream and downstream to upstream. So this is not a simple ladder. We need to design it. We need to design these baffles. These are also constructed walls having thickness 2 brick thick wall or concrete wall, or like this. And this is need specific consideration for the design. And design is also mentioned in IS code. And definitely we are not going to deal with the design of this fish ladder, but we will understand first the design of this weir and barrage as per IS code, that how this weir could be designed, and this fish ladder could be done very easily with the help of while doing the weir. We are not going to understand the design of guide banks. We are not going to understand the design of guide bank, because guide bank is dealt already in the soil mechanics, and these marginal burns are already dealt well in the soil mechanics. So compaction consolidation is the process, major process is there, and that has been explained to you in the soil mechanics subject. Now we are going to understand only the design of the weir, that how the weir could, how the barrage can be constructed, and also this head regulator and the off-taking canal structure, canal length, canal size, canal discharge, that those structures we are going to understand in irrigation engineering. So this is headworks. One beautiful thing, you look at the guide banks are upstream here, and also there are downstream there, this side. So the flow which is the excess flow which is falling onto the other side will pass easily. So this guide bank guide that it remains here in the middle and not eroding the banks. That's why these guide banks are extended to the downstream side. Otherwise, there is a lot of expenses, cost involved in construction of these guide banks here. So now you are comfortable. I feel if there is any question you may ask about different structures of the headworks. So this structure need to be understood. This structure itself and the line sketch is asked always in GTU exam for 3 marks or 5 marks. Sometimes fish ladder is asked, sometimes guide banks are asked, marginal embankments are being asked separately for 3 marks. So this sketch only after understanding could give you 10-12 marks in total. Please ask if anything you want to ask. You can switch on your mic and ask me.